Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to balance effort with ease. So we're going to do this by doing some movement poses, and then we're also going to work into some longer hold yin poses in between. So for today's class, you might find it helpful to have maybe a block or two. If you like to bring the floor up to you, go ahead and have one of those handy. It's not necessary, but you might like to have that. And we'll start with a quote today. What we hope ever to do with ease, we must first learn to do with diligence. That's Samuel Johnson. So we'll get started on all fours. And I'm going to face you for this. So you'll be on your mat like so and all fours. But I'm going to face you just so you can see what I'm doing here. So we're going to come to all fours. And then you're going to bring that left leg out to the left side. So bring that out on your mat. So my toes are pointed forward and my foot is along the parallel to the back of into my mat. And then from here, you're going to take that right arm and rise it up overhead and then thread it underneath behind that left arm. And we're not going to stay here. We're just going to move through this. So you're going to come up, rise that arm up overhead to the right, and then back down, thread it behind that left arm. Two more. Inhale, rise it up any amount, and then exhale, thread it behind that left arm. Once more, inhale, rise up, and exhale, thread it behind. And then go ahead and come up. And now we're going to go ahead and leave that left leg out to the side, and now we're going to come up to a kneeling position here. This is where a block could come in handy. So from here, we're just going to inhale. We're going to bring that left arm down, the left leg, the right arm up, and then we're just going to side bend over to the left. And they're going to come out, and now we're going to side bend over to the right. So you might use your block and rise that opposite arm, your left arm up overhead. You can always just come down to the mat if that works for you also. Inhale and reverse it. So come back over, and now your right arm is going up overhead, and you're side bending to the left. Inhale and come over, and now you're going to side bend over to your right with that left arm up overhead. Twice more. Inhale, side bend to the left. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, side bend to the left, and exhale, side bend to the right. And then go ahead and come back and return to all fours, and now we'll do the other side. So from there, you're going to go ahead and bring that right leg out to the right. And then we're going to, from all fours, you're going to inhale and rise that left arm up overhead, and exhale, thread that left arm behind that right arm. Inhale, rise that left arm up to the left. Exhale, thread it behind. Come down. Inhale, rise it up overhead to the left, and then exhale, come back down. Once more. Inhale, and exhale, thread it through. And then come on up to kneeling. So my right leg is still out to the side. Inhale here, and you're going to go ahead and side bend to the right now. So bring that left arm up overhead and side bend to your right. Inhale and come back up and over, and then exhale and side bend to the left with that right arm up overhead. Inhale, side bend over to the right on the exhale. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, come back up, side bend to the right. And exhale, side bend to the left. Once more. Inhale, side bend to your right. And exhale and side bend to your left. And come on back up. So that was our first little movement series. And now we're going to come into our first yin pose. So we're going to come into a low lunge here. So we're going to start with our right leg forward. And we're going to stay in each of these for about 30 to 45 seconds. So I'm going to come into a nice deep lunge here. So go ahead and lunge yourself forward. My left knee is back. My right knee is bent forward, and I've got a nice deep lunge here. And go ahead and settle into this pose. We'll be here for about 45 seconds. So you should really feel that deep in that hip flexor, that left hip flexor. The more you breathe into this pose, the better it will be. It may still be a little intense because we are holding it for about 45 seconds. You're always welcome to come out anytime you need to and stretch out if you need to. But try to stay with it. You got another 30 seconds. Really breathing into the sensation of that left hip flexor the best you can. 15 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on out. And now we're going to switch. So go ahead and switch out and bring that left leg forward. Left foot forward. So now your left leg is bent and your right leg is back. Come into that deep lunge. 45 seconds. Here we go. Remember to breathe deeply into that nice right hip flexor there. You can always use blocks here if that would help you to bring the floor up to you. Do what works for you. You could always also come up with your hands on that left knee. 15 more seconds. Really sink deep into that and really breathe into that hip flexor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and back out of that. And now we're going to come standing. So now we're going to move between two poses here. So from our standing position, we're just going to move between what I like to call, or I've heard called, star. So I have my legs are wider than hip distance apart. They're not super far wide, but they're wide. And then my arms are going to do the same. So it's like a star. So star pose here. Inhale. And then on the exhale, you're going to turn that right foot out and bend deeply into it for a nice warrior two. And actually you can fix your stance to work for this. So you might have a little wider stance for this. I had to kind of play around there. So here's your warrior two. And we're going to inhale and come back to star. But we're going to go ahead and leave that right leg facing toward the front of our mat. So we don't have to keep adjusting that each time. Exhale into your warrior two. Look over that right hand. Inhale. Rise your arms up and straighten that front leg. And then exhale back into your warrior two. Inhale back with your front leg straight. Once more. Exhale into warrior two. And inhale back. Now we're going to switch it. And now we're going to take the left foot and turn it out for warrior two. And go ahead and sink deep into your warrior two here. So adjust your stance however you need. And look over that left arm. Inhale, rise it up. Arms up overhead. Front, this leg, your left leg is now bent, is straight. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms up, legs straight. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, back up. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale once more. And exhale, warrior two. And then from here, go ahead and rise yourself back up. And now we're going to do a similar pose, but we're going to do that with triangle. So we're going to go ahead and turn the right foot out again. And in this case, now we're going to keep that right leg straight. So we're going to come out with our arms straight up overhead, and then we're going to exhale and tilt forward into triangle. So bring that right hand down to your right shin. Left arm up. Inhale, arms up overhead, and exhale back into triangle again. Inhale, arms rise up, and exhale into triangle. Inhale, come all the way up, and we'll switch the legs. So now the left leg will be out. Left toes will be pointed out toward the back of our mat. Same thing, we're going to keep this left leg straight, arms up overhead, and exhale into triangle. So go ahead and tilt forward over that left leg. Bring your left arm down on your shin and your right arm up. Inhale, rise your arms up overhead. Exhale into triangle. Inhale, arms up overhead, and exhale into triangle. And then go ahead and inhale and bring yourself back up. And now we're going to do a balance pose. We're not going to hold this one for too long, but this will be a little bit of like a yen pose also. So I'll turn to the side so you can see here. We're going to balance on the left foot. And we're going to bring this right leg up behind us. So bend it with your knee bent. Find your point of gaze. You can always grab a wall if you need to, or a tree, or whatever's nearby, countertop. And then have that left arm up overhead, and you can stay right here. And if you would like to, you can always tilt forward a little or a lot, any amount. We're going to hold this for 3 breaths. Holding steady. If you fall out, come back into it. Hold steady. Breathing here. Bring yourself back up and drop that leg back down. And now we'll balance on the right leg and go into the other side. So find your point of focus. Use a counter, a wall, a tree, whatever might be nearby. And go ahead and bend that left foot in, that left knee in. Grab a hold of that left foot with your left hand. Right arm up overhead. You can stay right here. Breathing here and balancing, focusing, or you can tilt forward any amount. Stay here for a few breaths. Nice and steady, steady gaze. If you fall out, come back in. Don't worry about it. That's okay. And come on back up and release all that back down. Nicely done. We're going to come down for our next yen pose. So we're going to come into a pigeon deer variation. So for this one, we're going to come in like we're going into pigeon, but we're going to be more in almost like a deer shape. So my right leg is going to be forward, and it is bent here. We're not going to be a 90-degree angle with the top edge of our mat. We're going to have it bent so that the heel is coming a bit closer to this left leg. And then this left leg is going to be somewhere nearby. This is a general idea of what the pose is going to look like. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. We're not going for the 90-90 sit here. We're not stretching the legs out. We're kind of having them a little bit closer. So my right heel is closer to my left knee. So go ahead and just set yourself up and get comfortable here the best you can. And then now we're going to face toward the front of our mat. And we're going to inhale, get nice and tall here. And then we're going to exhale and go ahead and bend over that right leg as much as you'd like. Come forward as much as you'd like here. And we're going to stay here for 45 seconds. Or maybe a minute. I think we'll go for a minute because it's a really good one for our hips. It's also a modified one, so it shouldn't be as intense as when we normally have the left leg, the one back, all the way back behind us. So we're still getting a stretch here in the hips, but it's a little less intense. So stay here. You can always use a block or whatever prop you may have underneath of your elbows if you need to stay more upright. Or you could simply use your hands and stay more upright. So make sure you breathe here. You should be feeling a little something there in that right hip. Opening that up a bit. About 15 more seconds. Remembering to breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're just going to simply swing the left leg around and come into the other side. So now I'm going to bring in, my left leg is bent forward and my right leg is bent back behind me. And again, just find the configuration that works best for you. So I have mine set up a bit like this. I'm with my foot, my left foot and my right knee connecting. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. You're just going for what feels good in your body. Inhale and get tall, and now we're going to fold over that left leg now toward the front of our mat. And we'll stay here for a minute. So the nice thing about balancing efforts with ease is you get a little bit of that challenge, you get a little bit of that work that your body needs, and it's a good stress on your body, it's not the bad stress. But then you balance that with a bit of the ease here. So this may not always feel so easeful, especially in your hip if your hip is really tight. But you're not having to work super hard here. You can always use a block or something to help hold yourself up. So in this case, you're here and you're just relaxing into this. You're allowing some ease to take over. So the movements get us going and have us exert some effort. And then we drop into a little bit of ease. So about 15 more seconds. Make sure you're breathing here. And again, this is a great variation if you need a little, change it up from the typical pigeon pose. And then go ahead and rise yourself back up. And now we're going to come into one last easeful pose here. We're going to come onto our backs and we're just going to do a supine twist. And we're going to hold that one for 1 minute. And this one should feel very easeful. So go ahead and set yourself up, lay on your back, and hug your knees into your chest to begin with. And then we're just going to simply drop both knees over to the left. And our minute's going to begin there. So go ahead and bring that right arm out to the side. You can look over to the right and just stay here and just really release yourself into the mat, balancing the effort that we did earlier with some ease. And I'll keep an eye on the time for you. You can always keep your face looking straight up instead of off to the right if that's better on your neck. Your right shoulder may or may not come down to the ground, and that's okay. You can always back off your knees a little bit if you want to bring that shoulder down more. We need both effort and ease in our lives. We need to put forth effort, about 10 more seconds. That's how we accomplish things in our lives. But we also have to have ease in our lives to allow ourselves a rest. And go ahead and bring your knees back into your chest. Give them a nice squeeze, a nice hug. And then you know what we're going to do from here. Go ahead and drop them over to the right. Release that left arm out to the left. And we'll be here for 1 minute. So go ahead and just drop into this. Looking over to the right, to the left if you like, with your left arm out, or you can look straight up. You can close your eyes if you like. That's a very nice, restful, easeful way to do this pose, while you're also still getting a nice stretch in the lower back and your spine. If we effort all the time, we will burn out. If we have ease and rest all the time, we'll become very lethargic. And so you have to have a little bit of each in your life on every day. Stay here for another 15 seconds or so. And then go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Give them a nice, gentle squeeze here if you have the time. Highly recommend just going ahead and lying back in Shavasana, stretch out on your mat, the ultimate pose of ease. If you're out of time and need to come up, go ahead and come up with me. Otherwise, ignore me. Thank you so much for doing this class and taking the time out of your day to balance your body and your mind with some effort, but also with some ease. Thank you for joining me.